welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Sims 4 speed build for you, and today I decided to make a tiny home in terms of what the game designates as a tiny home, which means that the house can only have 64 livable tiles. And I decided to make this a dog trainer's home. So in the backyard we have a lot of dog training equipment. Inside we have dog treats and leashes and all that kind of good stuff. So I thought that would be really cute. I actually don't use that in gameplay very often, and I feel like I should. I feel like it would be a lot of fun, and I decided that it'd be really cute to have little dormers on the front. And these were actually pieces that came from the university pack. And this house actually came out to be 36,283 simoleons. And right now I'm building on a lot in Newcrest. Of course, you can put this wherever you want to. And it is already up on the Sims 4 gallery if you want to check it out or download it. Obviously, if you download it, you can do whatever you want with it, play with it however you want to. You can delete out all of the dog training stuff if you want to. That's totally up to you. But you can find it under my username, spicensprinkles, all one word, all lowercase, and it's also down in the description if you want to see it written out, if that would help you. So this build took me a little bit, especially the exterior, trying to decide what I wanted, because I knew I wanted to use those dormer pieces, and trying to figure out which swatch I wanted of those, and then basing the colors around that. And you can also notice here that I used exactly 64 tiles, so when I was making the little porch, I couldn't add an actual porch. It just had to be the stairs, because if you put any kind of floor tiles there, it would go over the count. And the reason I tagged it as a tiny home is because you get some perks if you actually use it as a tiny home. I think there's skill gain, relationship gain, all of that kind of good stuff. Now, obviously in the game, if you don't have Tiny Living, that pack, actually I can't even remember. Does base game now have that delineation of micro and tiny home? Anyways, if it is only just in the pack for Tiny Living, of course you can still download this and use it. It's not gonna change anything. The lot type maybe just will change, but that doesn't really do anything in terms of gameplay or being able to use the lot. And I kept the landscaping pretty simple, just a lot of greenery and just some flowers out front. And I started thinking about too, if you're a dog trainer, you might have a lot of animals around, so maybe not having a bunch of different types of plants. I know all kinds of animals have different allergies or can't eat or be around certain plants. Since I don't have a dog myself, I don't know what those are off the top of my head, other than the big ones like chocolate and stuff like that. I know more about birds than I do about dogs, since I have 3 birds, in case you weren't aware. And there's a ton of shorts on my channel of my birds, so if you ever want to see the shenanigans they get into, be sure to check those out. And also in the description I have a playlist of all my other speed builds and Sims 4 gameplay if you'd like to look into that a little bit. And when I was doing the backyard, I wanted it to be a really nice place to hang out, and of course if we're dealing with dogs, I wanted a fence. Now in The Sims, I don't know if it really matters all that much, but I just thought it made a lot of sense to have a fenced in backyard if you're dealing with animals. And so I end up actually putting a really nice seating area, grill, as well as a flower arranging table, because I thought that might be kind of neat and something your sim might be into. And I also included a bunch of planters out back, and I ended up putting just flowers from the game in there, that you can find in the landscaping category. And you can of course delete those out if you would like to and plant your own stuff, but I like the look of actually having something planted there. But it's also nice if you like the look of it, but you don't actually want to keep up with planting. So you can do whatever you want with that. And then I also included the dog toy box over there in the area where you would train a dog. Like I said, I think I've only done that once in gameplay. I actually don't use pets that much. Sometimes I feel I forget that they exist in the game. That seems so sad, but I just don't. And it may be because also I don't have a dog or cat, so I just don't necessarily think about it. I do know in The Sims 3 that they had birds in their animal pack. I didn't have a lot of packs for Sims 3, but I did have the one for pets. And they had, I remember horses and all kinds of stuff. That was really awesome, and I loved having a bird. Although it was so weird to me that if you had a bird cage in the game, your sim would put the bird in their pocket and leave it there, which is obviously super weird in terms of actually having a pet. Like, you just don't like pop it in your pocket. And I think it's like that too in Cottage Living for The Sims 4. I think if you're taking like a chicken or something to those festivals they have, you just like put the chicken in your pocket and you go along your merry way, which I just think is so funny. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like sometimes like in The Sims 3, I would forget the bird in my pocket, or the sim would do that and I wouldn't know they did it. Anyways, so that was sad when that happened. But actually, back to this build, I actually really, really love the way that the kitchen and dining space turned out. It took me a little bit to decide exactly how I wanted to kind of route the traffic of Sims through this house, because I really wanted the dining room to be right off of the stairs that go down outside. So you have that really nice glass door that leads out to the porch back there. And so that kind of made things a little bit weird in terms of like having to have the kitchen and dining over there, but it worked out in the end. And then the living room is not particularly huge. Of course, since this is a tiny home, you wouldn't necessarily expect everything to be really large. And then I wanted to be sure, obviously, there was a space for a bedroom. And I didn't want it to be like studio. I wanted it to actually be like a closed off bedroom, as well as having a bathroom. And then I started out having this like open area in the kitchen, which I loved so much, but since the floor plan was a little weird, I had to take that out. But I feel like I might revisit that in another build because I thought it looked super cute. And Move Objects was being weird again. Like, it would just randomly delete stuff for some reason, but I could like put it back. Like, it was mad, but then it was not mad. I don't know. And I think all of these cabinets were from Cottage Living, and I think it worked really well here. Like this like cozy kind of vibe that I had going. And then I can't even remember if I ended up with 2 windows back there. It's been a little bit since I actually made this build, but then trying to decide what kind of curtains. I think I did leave it because I think the curtains were the issue. It was like clipping into the fridge, which was, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it's just odd to me when you look at it. And like I said, I loved this like hanging plant situation we had, but maybe in another build I'll actually include that. And then, I mean, for a tiny home, this is actually a very sizable kitchen dining space, to be honest. So I was really excited about that. And I think the bedroom, actually everything's pretty large. Of course, 64 tiles is a decent amount of room for a home. I know that I think it's a micro home in the game. It's like 32 tiles, so it's like half of that. And I actually just, not too terribly long ago, did like a modern micro home. That was pretty interesting, trying to fit everything in there, including the bathroom. I ended up having to use like a 3-tile bathroom. So that's up on my channel too, if you'd like to check that out. And then just adding a few things around the counter, like not a ton of stuff. I feel like sometimes in my builds I put like just a plethora of things, but I ended up not so much in this build. And I feel like I use columns a lot, and so you may see that on my channel a lot. I think it gives a nice delineation between like rooms and spaces, without it just being just a corner wall, which I don't know, it's very odd because like in actual real life builds, like that's what is normally there. You usually just have like a corner wall, and I don't know why like in The Sims I feel like it looks better to have a column there, because I don't necessarily feel that way in like real life builds. And then I was struggling a little bit with like fitting in the bathroom here and how I wanted the windows to work. I wasn't like necessarily attached to having a window in the bathroom, but I wanted it to look even on the outside of the build, if that makes sense. I wanted to be nice and symmetric, especially since it's the front of the build. I wanted it to look right. So that's why I shifted the windows around a little bit, and I found this smaller version of those windows, which was really exciting. So it made just kind of like a grander window to actually have in the bedroom. And then I decided for this bathroom, it had that weird little alcove, but then I was like, we could just use that for a closet. And I don't actually use those built-in closets super often, but I think it worked really well in this build and made a whole lot of sense, since it's supposed to be like a smaller home. Like, that's it, that's your closet. That's the space you have. And I sized that carpet down like so many times, but I thought it looked so adorable, this like tiny little carpet. And then for this bedroom, I kept it pretty simple in terms of like the bed and everything like that. And I was trying to remember actually if I kept these windows or I took them out. I think I ended up taking them out because I didn't want like a giant window over the bed necessarily, especially because it was going to be at a different height than the other ones. And then I knew I wanted to do like a blue, so I ended up using this really cute bed from Cottage Living. I love this bed so much in the pattern, and I thought it worked really well. And I thought about using that cute like picture cluster from the Pets pack, but like, I don't know, just the colors didn't quite match very well, I didn't feel like. And so I think basically your sim has everything they need in this build and more, to be honest. And I feel like sometimes I struggle making smaller homes because I just end up making huge ones. And like pretty soon on the channel, we're gonna have a farmhouse build, and it is huge, but I love it. I cannot wait to share it with you all. But I ended up pulling in this one a lot of stuff from that Cottage Living pack because it just kind of worked well together. And then we're kind of finishing up here in this living space. I kept it pretty simple. And there's a TV, there's a dog bed, and just like a couch. I used the tall back couches from the Pets pack, and I keep calling it that, but why am I like blanking on the name of that pack all of a sudden? Anyways, I really liked the way it looked, and I thought it worked well with the color scheme, so I wanted to use it. And your sim should be able to get around it and all of that kind of good stuff, so you shouldn't have any problems with that. And then I ended up just, putting a chair in here, so lots of space for your sims to hang out. Maybe if your dog trainer has like clients over or something like that, just lots of space. And then just kind of putting in the pet bowl. I almost forgot about it, which would have been really bad for a pet trainer home. And I did actually decide, like I said, that it's dog training, so there's a dog in this build. Of course, you can swap it out for a cat if you want to. But we are nearing the end of this build, so I have some awesome screenshots coming for you. You can download this off the gallery if you would like to. If you enjoyed this build, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more like it. I would really appreciate it. And if you have any build ideas, be sure to put those down in the comments. I would love to read through those. So I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye, everybody.